What if her silence isn't what you think? What if instead of losing interest, she's waiting, watching, even testing your reaction? Women communicate in ways that go beyond words. Sometimes silence is a test. Sometimes it's a sign of emotional uncertainty. And sometimes it's an unconscious way to gauge how much power she holds over you. If you react emotionally, blowing up her phone, over-analysing, or getting desperate, you fail the test. But if you respond with composure, detachment, and a true understanding of your worth, the dynamic shifts in your favour. So, what's really going on in her mind when she stops texting? And more importantly, how do you navigate this without losing your frame? Stay tuned, because today we're decoding the hidden meaning behind her silence and revealing how you can handle it. Like a Stoic number 1, when she goes quiet, don't panic. First things first, relax, women. When she goes quiet, don't panic. Don't always stop texting because they lost interest. Sometimes they get busy, sometimes they need space. The worst thing you can do, freak out. A Stoic man doesn't. Chase validation. He observes, adapts, and stays in control of his emotions. Right now, your mind might be racing, wondering if she's lost interest, if she's talking to someone else, or if you did something wrong. But here's the truth. Over-analysing won't change anything. If she's pulling back, there's a reason. But it's not always about you. Maybe she's overwhelmed with work, maybe she's testing your patience, or maybe she's simply trying to figure out how she feels. A woman's silence can be a test, not necessarily a calculated one, but a subconscious way of seeing how you handle uncertainty. Do you start double texting, looking for reassurance, or do you remain grounded, unaffected by the lack of response? This is where Stoicism comes in. The Stoic man doesn't let external factors like a delayed text shake his inner peace. He understands that he cannot control her actions, only his reaction. Imagine a man who panics when she stops texting. He starts sending, "Are you okay?" messages followed by, "Did I do something wrong?" And eventually, "I guess you don't care." That energy, desperation, and women pick up on it fast. Now picture a man who remains calm. He gives her space, continues living his life. And when she reaches out, he responds warmly, but without anxiety. That energy, confidence is magnetic. Instead of reacting emotionally, take a step back and assess. Has she been distant only for a few hours a day? That's nothing. People have lives outside of their phones. Has she consistently been pulling away? If so, let her Stoic knows that if she values him, she will return. And if she doesn't, he remains unshaken because his worth was never tied to her response in the first place. Number 2 is she busy or losing? Is she busy or losing interest? Interest, there's a difference between a woman who's genuinely caught up in life and one who's slowly pulling away. But here's the thing. A man who respects himself doesn't sit around dissecting every delayed text, wondering where he stands. He focuses on his own life, his own mission, because the moment you start waiting on her response, like your happiness depends on it, you're already losing ground. Look, women don't always pull back because they've lost interest. Sometimes life gets overwhelming, work, family, personal struggles she might be dealing with, stress, feeling emotionally drained, or just needing space to process things. But here's where most guys mess up. Instead of respecting that space, they start chasing. The texts become more frequent. The energy shifts from confident to needy. And suddenly she feels suffocated instead of drawn in, and nothing kills attraction faster than a man who loses control over his emotions. Let's say she really is just busy if you remain patient. Focus on your own life and stay composed. She'll notice that you're different from other men, ones who blow up her phone the moment she gets quiet. She'll appreciate the fact that you trust in the connection enough to give her breathing room. And when she does reach out, you're calm, Unbothered energy will make you even more attractive. But what if she's losing interest? That's where self-respect comes in a man who knows his value. Never begs for someone's attention. The worst thing you can do is try to convince her to stay through words. Attraction isn't built through persuasion. It's built through presence, through how you carry yourself. Even when things are uncertain, if she's pulling away, let her. If she's losing interest, give her the space to feel it. A woman can only miss what's absent. Marcus Aurelius said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Think about it. How many times have you stressed over a woman's silence only for her to text later as if nothing happened? Your mind creates problems that don't exist. A Stoic man doesn't let uncertainty consume him. He doesn't assume the worst or chase validation. He simply observes, responds calmly, and moves forward. Here's the reality: if she's interested, she will reach out. If not, let her go. Either way, you win, because a man who values himself never waits in limbo, hoping for attention. He is the prize. Now take a moment to reflect. Have you ever let uncertainty get the best of you? Have you ever chased when you should have stepped back? Drop your thoughts in the comments, or if you're feeling it, just type, "I am the prize." Let's see how many men in this community are embracing their worth. Number 3, is she testing you without realizing it? Is she testing you without realizing it? Women subconsciously test for emotional strength. They don't always do it intentionally, but it happens. She might pull back, take longer to respond, or seem less engaged than before. Not because she's lost interest, but because on a deeper level she's trying to see what kind of man you are and how you handle that moment. Makes all the difference. If she pulls back and you start blowing up her phone, double texting, or asking if everything's okay, that's an instant turn off. Why? Because it signals insecurity. It tells her that you need reassurance, that you're looking to her for validation instead of standing firm in your own self-worth. A high-value man doesn't do that. A Stoic man doesn't react emotionally. He remains steady, an anchor, not a wave. Think of it like this: a ship anchored in a storm remains grounded, unshaken by the chaos around it. A weak ship, however, gets tossed by every wave, desperately trying to fight against the current. In relationships, a woman doesn't want a man who crumbles at the first sign of distance. She wants to feel the strength of your presence, even in silence. Let's say she suddenly goes quiet for a day. The average guy starts panicking, overanalyzing, and reacting emotionally. He feels the need to do something because sitting with uncertainty makes him uncomfortable. But the man who understands his value doesn't chase. He doesn't rush to close the gap. He waits, he observes, and most importantly, he remains focused on his own life. If she's genuinely interested, she'll notice that you're not reacting. And that will intrigue her even more. If she was testing you, she'll recognize your strength and feel reassured. And if she truly isn't interested, you've just saved yourself time and energy. That could be spent on someone who is number 4. She's active online, but not replying. What gives? Not replying. What gives? You see her online posting selfies, laughing on her stories, even replying to other people, but your message left on read. Frustrating, right? But before you assume the worst, take a step back. This doesn't automatically mean she's lost interest. It just means she's living her life. The mistake most guys make is thinking that attention on social media equals genuine connection. Just because she's engaging with the world online doesn't mean she owes you an immediate response. Maybe she's in a social mood, but not in the headspace for a deep conversation. Maybe she's decompressing and scrolling mindlessly, or maybe she's testing to see how you handle being ignored. This is where a Stoic man separates himself from the rest. He doesn't let his emotions get the best of him. He doesn't spiral into self-doubt or send a passive-aggressive follow-up text like, "I guess you're too busy for me." No, he understands that his value isn't measured by a response time. He knows the difference between a woman who's genuinely distracted and one who's slowly pulling away, and either way, he doesn't beg for attention. Picture two men in this scenario. One sees that she's online but ignoring him, and he immediately reacts. He texts again, hoping for a response, maybe even drops a sarcastic comment on one of her posts, the other. He shrugs, puts his phone down and gets back to his life. He focuses on his goals, his purpose. And when she finally texts back, he responds without bitterness or insecurity. Which man do you think she's more attracted to? Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. A high-val man doesn't get caught up in whether she's online or not. He remains composed, grounded, and in control of his emotions. If she's interested, she'll come back. If not, he moves forward, because his worth isn't defined by a text message as we navigate these tricky waters of digital communication and relationship dynamics." I invite you to pause and reflect. How do you handle moments when you feel overlooked or ignored? Does maintaining a stoic composure help you stay centered, despite the online interactions or lack thereof? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your insights could help others in similar situations. Let's grow together in understanding. And distance has a way of deepening desire. Resilience. Number 5. Distance has a way of deepening desire when something is always available. It loses its value. That's just human nature. The things we see every day, the people we hear from constantly, we stop appreciating them the way we should, and the same thing happens in relationships. If you've been texting her non-stop, responding instantly, always there, the moment she reaches out, she might start to take you for granted, not because she's unkind, but because certainty kills curiosity. But here's the paradox. When you pull back, she starts to notice. She starts to wonder why your name isn't popping up as often. She starts to feel the shift, even if she doesn't fully understand it. And that's when the magic happens. A little space allows her to reflect on your presence in her life. As Seneca said, absence sharpens love. Presence strengthens it. When was the last time you truly appreciated something you always had? It's the same with people. A woman can only miss what isn't immediately available. If you're always there, she has no reason to think about you, no reason to feel your absence. But when you create space, even just a little, it forces her to evaluate what you mean to her. This doesn't mean playing childish games or purposefully ignoring her. It means recognizing your own value and not feeling the need to overextend yourself just to keep her interested. A stoic man understands this balance. He doesn't withdraw out of spite or manipulation. He does it because he's secure enough to give the relationship room to breathe. Suppose you've been initiating most of the conversations. Instead of texting her first today, let the silence linger instead of responding immediately. Take your time, not as a strategy to win, but as a natural shift in energy. The moment she realizes that your attention isn't guaranteed, she'll start to value it more. Marcus Aurelius reminds us the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If your mind is always fixated on whether she's responding, you're letting external validation dictate your inner peace. But when you step back, when you embrace the space, you create an opportunity for her to miss you, for her to reach out for attraction, to rebuild distance. Isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes it's the very thing that reignites desire. Number 6, did she like you or just the attention? Some women love the attention. Did she like you or just the attention, but never had real interest in the first place? That's the harsh truth most men don't want to hear. Not every text, every flirty emoji, or every late-night conversation means she's truly into you. Sometimes you were just a source of validation, someone to entertain her boredom, boost her ego, or fill the silence when no one else was around. And if you don't recognize this, you can end up chasing someone who never actually wanted you in the first place. A Stoic man doesn't fall into that trap. He values himself enough to walk away. If he's not being valued in return, if her actions don't match her words, if she keeps you around, but never really invests in you, he doesn't beg for more. He moves on. Consider this: she used to text you often, but lately she only responds when it's convenient for her. Maybe she keeps the conversation shallow, never really asking about you, or she disappears for days, but suddenly reappears when she's feeling lonely. If you find yourself wondering, does she actually like me, or does she just like knowing I'm available, then you probably already have your answer. Epicurus said, "He who is not satisfied with a little is satisfied with nothing." A woman who constantly seeks validation will never be fulfilled, no matter how much you give. And if she's only interested in the attention, she won't suddenly wake up one day and realize you're the one she truly wants. But if you step back, if you stop feeding her need for validation, that's when the truth comes out. If she actually likes you, she'll notice your absence and make an effort. If she was only using you for attention, she'll move on to the next source. Either way, you get your answer without having to beg for it. A Stoic man knows his worth. He doesn't chase, he doesn't cling, and he doesn't waste time on someone who only values him. When it's convenient, if she truly likes you, she'll show it. If not, let her go. You were never meant to be just another option. If you've read this far, it means you're thinking deeply about your own worth, and that's a powerful thing. Have you ever felt like someone was keeping you around just for convenience? How did you handle it? Drop your thoughts in the comments, or if you're ready to stand firm in your value, comment. I refuse to be just an option. Let's keep the conversation going. Number 7, silence is more. Silence is more powerful than over-texting. Powerful than over-texting. Most men think sending another text will fix the situation. Maybe she didn't see it. Maybe she forgot. Maybe she's waiting for you to show more effort, so they type out another message, and then another. And before they know it, they've turned a moment of silence into a desperate attempt for validation. Wrong move. Over-texting doesn't create attraction. It destroys it. It screams insecurity, neediness, and a lack of self-control, true confidence. It's knowing that silence speaks louder than words. A woman respects a man who knows his worth, without begging for attention when you hold back. Instead of chasing it, does 2 things. First, it shows her that you're not like the others. You're not desperate for her response. You're not sitting around waiting for her approval. And second, it forces her to feel your absence. If she cares, she'll notice if she doesn't. You'll get your answer without saying a word. When someone pulls away and you start over-texting, you hand them all the power you're telling them. I need your response to feel okay. But when you remain calm, when you embrace the silence instead of fearing it, you send a completely different message. I am not dependent on your validation. And that energy is powerful. You can't control whether she replies, but you can control how you respond to her silence. The high-value man doesn't react emotionally. He doesn't beg. He doesn't try to fix something that doesn't need fixing. He simply waits, observes, and lets her actions reveal the truth. If she's interested, she will reach out. If not, you walk away with your dignity intact. Because in the end, silence is a statement. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing at all. Number 8, maybe you came on too strong if you've been texting her 24/7. Maybe you came on too strong, checking in constantly or always making the first move. She might not be pulling back because she's lost interest. She might just need some space. And here's the tricky part. When you feel her withdrawing, your natural instinct might be to lean in more, to send another message to prove your value. But that's where most men go wrong. The more you try to force connection, the more you push her away. Consider this: when you always text first, when you're always instantly available, what happens? The excitement fades. She never has a chance to wonder about you, to anticipate your messages, or to miss your presence. The truth is attraction isn't just built in the moments you're together, it's built in the moments apart, in the gaps where curiosity and longing have space to grow. A woman values what she has to earn. If she never has to wonder whether you're thinking about her, if she knows you'll always be there, no matter how little she invests, she starts taking you for granted. Not out of malice, but because it's human nature. We don't appreciate what we don't have to work for instead of constantly initiating. Slow down instead of responding within seconds. Take your time not to punish her, but to give the interaction space to breathe. Seneca once said, "Cease to hope, and you will cease to fear if you're always hoping for a response. Always fearing that she's slipping away, you're putting yourself in a position of weakness." A Stoic man doesn't attach his sense of worth to someone else's attention. He removes himself from that emotional roller coaster and focuses on what he can control: his own purpose, his own life, his own mindset. So, if you came on too strong, don't panic. The solution isn't to overcorrect with even more effort. It's to step back, regain your balance, and allow her the chance to come to you. If she's genuinely interested, she will. And if she doesn't, then you've just saved yourself the time and energy of chasing someone who never truly valued you to begin with. Either way, you win. As we unpack the dynamics of giving space in relationships, take a moment to consider your own experiences. Have you ever felt the urge to increase your efforts when someone seemed to pull away? What was the outcome? Reflect on the balance between connection and space, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Or if you resonate with the idea of stepping back to regain perspective, simply type space to breathe in the comments to express your alignment with this approach. Understanding these dynamics can greatly enhance our relationships and personal well-being. So let's dive into these insights together. Number 9, she's waiting for you to take the lead. You to take the lead. Some women pause in communication, not because they've lost interest, but because they're waiting to see if you will take the lead. Women are naturally drawn to confidence, to a man who knows what he wants and isn't afraid to make his intentions clear. But let's be clear, taking the lead doesn't mean chasing. It doesn't mean bombarding her with messages or trying to force attraction. It means being decisive, assertive, and direct when you do engage with her. A Stoic man doesn't sit in limbo, wondering, should I text her? Should I wait? What if she's testing me? He moves with certainty if he wants to see her. He says so if he wants to have a conversation, he starts one. But what he doesn't do is beg for attention or overcompensate when he senses distance. Think of it like this: if a woman feels like you're hesitating, unsure of yourself, or waiting for her to make the first move all the time, she starts questioning your confidence. Attraction thrives on a man's ability to lead, to provide a sense of direction in the dynamic. If she's interested, she'll follow that lead. That doesn't mean forcing things. You don't need to plan extravagant dates or send paragraphs convincing her to spend time with you. Sometimes it's as simple as saying, "Hey, I'd love to see you this weekend. Let's grab a drink." No hesitation, no excessive follow-ups, just clarity and confidence if she's on board. Great if she makes excuses or gives vague answers. You have your answer without needing to waste more time. Marcus Aurelius once said, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." A high-value man moves with purpose, not hesitation. He doesn't sit around anxiously waiting for signs. He takes action, speaks with confidence, and allows her response to reveal whether she's truly interested. If she's waiting for you to take the lead, step up, but do it with strength, not desperation. Make your move state your intent, and if she's truly interested, she'll respond accordingly. If not, you walk away, knowing that you didn't hesitate, you didn't overthink, You simply acted like a man who knows his worth, and that more than anything is what makes you attractive. Number 10. Are you the one? Are you the one chasing now? Chasing now, the second you start chasing, the dynamic shifts. And once that happens, attraction fades. Maybe you didn't even realize it at first. One day, she was texting you back with enthusiasm, making plans, engaging in conversations. Then suddenly she started responding less, taking longer, seeming less interested. And that's when it happens, the slow, almost imperceptible shift, where you become the one trying harder, waiting on her messages and second-guessing every move. A Stoic man never loses his frame. He stays centered, knowing that his value doesn't depend on her response. But most men don't realize they're slipping into the chase until it's too late. It starts small. She pulls back a little, and instead of matching her energy, you lean in. You send that extra text, hoping to keep the connection alive. She takes longer to respond, and instead of staying patient, you try harder, maybe even double texting to check in. And before you know it, the dynamic has flipped. She is now in control of the interaction, while you're left wondering how to get back to where things used to be. The more you chase, the less she values your presence. It's human nature. What's always available is rarely appreciated. Women don't lose interest because you weren't good enough. They lose interest when the mystery, the challenge, and the excitement disappear, and nothing kills attraction faster than a man who seems too eager to win her back. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. If your thoughts are consumed by, 'Why isn't she texting? What should I do to make her interested again?' then you're already giving away your power." A Stoic man understands that he cannot control her behavior, only his reaction to it. If she's pulling back, let her. If she values you, she'll return. If not, you've just saved yourself the time and energy of chasing someone who is never fully invested when she senses that you're unaffected by the silence, that her distance isn't shaking your confidence. Something shifts. Suddenly you're the one she's thinking about. You've gone from chasing to being the one she now wonders about. And that is where true power lies, not in forcing a connection, but in being so centered in your own value that you never have to number 11. Stay focused on you. So what should you do next? The answer isn't another text. It isn't analyzing her messages or trying to decode her silence. It's simple. Stop worrying about why she's not texting and start focusing on yourself the moment you shift your energy away from her and back to you. Everything changes right now. You might feel the urge to do something, to check in, to remind her you're still there, to somehow reignite the connection. But here's the truth. The more you chase, the more she pulls away. Women don't fall for men who seek their approval. They are drawn to men who don't need it. If you find yourself anxiously waiting for her message, that's a sign that your focus is in the wrong place. Stoicism advises that a man's value isn't determined by external validation. True confidence doesn't rely on how quickly she replies or whether she initiates the conversation. It comes from within a man with purpose and direction remains steadfast, unaffected by temporary silence. And ironically, that's when women know, when she sees that you remain unbothered, when she realizes you're not waiting around for her curiosity begins to creep in. Think about the last time you lost interest in someone. Was it because they were too mysterious, or was it because they were too available? Most of the time, attraction fades, not because of distance, but because of predictability when you stop caring so much. That's when she starts caring more, when you stop making her the center of your attention. She starts wondering why your attention isn't on her. Marcus Aurelius said, "A man's worth is no greater than his ambitions." If your biggest concern right now is whether she texts you back, you're selling yourself short. There are bigger things to accomplish, greater goals, to chase the best thing you can do. Redirect your energy, hit the gym, focus on your work, get lost in your passions, build something for yourself, because when you do, you naturally become more attractive, not just to her, but to anyone who respects strength and purpose. And here's the final twist. If she comes back, she should return to a man who doesn't need her attention to feel whole. And if she doesn't, you won't even care because you'll be too busy becoming the best version of yourself. That's the real power move. So let's bring it all. Conclusion together. If she's gone quiet, don't panic. Don't chase. Don't let her silence shake your frame. A Stoic man understands that his worth isn't measured by someone else's attention. If she's truly interested, she'll reach out. If not, you haven't lost anything because your value was never dependent on her response. The biggest mistake most men make is overanalyzing and reacting emotionally. But when you learn to embrace silence, to sit with the uncertainty instead of fearing it, you start to shift the dynamic in your favor. You show strength, self-respect, and an unshakable sense of confidence. Qualities that naturally make you more attractive, not just to her, but in all areas of life. At the end of the day, relationships are about mutual investment, not one-sided pursuit. If you constantly find yourself trying to decode someone's mixed signals, step back and ask yourself, am I being valued or am I just trying to prove my worth? A Stoic man doesn't seek validation from others. He creates his own sense of purpose and direction. When you stop making her silence a problem to solve, and instead focus on living your life fully, you put yourself in a position of power. And that's what I want you to take away from this. Your strength isn't in chasing fixing or convincing. It's in being so solid in who you are that you naturally attract the right people into your life. If she wants to be there, she will be. If she doesn't, let her go with grace, knowing that her absence does not define your value. Now let's open up the conversation. Have you ever caught yourself overanalyzing a woman's silence? How did you handle it? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective, and your insight might just help another man who's watching this right now. And if this video gave you clarity, take a second to hit that like button. It helps push this message to more men who need it. Subscribe for more content on mastering your mindset and relationships. And before you go, check out the recommended videos on screen. Now they'll help you refine your approach even further. See you in the next one.